photo. Following on from Kevin's discussion of digital media technologies, in this video I'll be talking about digital media imaginaries. With the phrase digital media imaginaries, I mean to refer to the various cultural fantasies, fascinations, and anxieties that circulate around digital media. While the question of what digital media are at a technical level has been broached in other videos, this video will grapple with the question of how we imagine digital media. I'm going to begin with a question that media theorist Wendy Chun asks at the beginning of her book, Updating to Remain the Same. She asks, has the internet destroyed the world or made it a better place? Does it foster democracy or total surveillance? Community or isolation? Information or pornography? Well-adjusted citizens or homicidal psychopaths? These are rhetorical questions, of course, but what Chun puts her finger on in asking them is the fact that networked digital media is routinely conceived in ways that veer between the apocalyptic and the utopian. You'll be familiar with some of these conceptions, of course. On the one hand, there's the belief that the internet facilitates democratic communication, organization, mobilization, and participation, as in, for example, certain readings of the Me Too movement. On the other, there's the belief that the internet is in fact fomenting political division, creating political silos or echo chambers that block our ability to encounter and absorb alternative voices. On the one hand, there's the belief that the internet fosters community, creating new opportunities and mechanisms for us to connect with others. And on the other, there's the belief that the internet leads to isolation, a fear embodied in the archetypal image of the angry, alienated young man addicted to 4chan message boards like Paul. You might be tempted to agree with some of the above visions of digital media, and certainly we cannot altogether dismiss either the utopian or the apocalyptic visions of digital media by proclaiming them simply mistaken. As French media theorists Frédéric Lesage and Louis Renfray remind us, historically, our digital media imaginaries have had very real effects. For example, the utopian vision of the internet often enshrined in the notion of Web 2.0, a term popularized by web entrepreneur Tim O'Reilly in 2004, served to help encourage a new round of investment in the internet after the bursting of the dot-com financial bubble in 1999. And in this sense, the Web 2.0 media imaginary helped shape the internet by helping generate a huge amount of revenue. However, we do need to maintain a healthy skepticism about some of the more sensationalizing or deterministic visions of digital media. Why? Well, first of all, as media historians like Carolyn Marvel, Lisa Gittelman, and Jeffrey Pingree have shown, our current imaginations of digital media, which oscillate between foreboding and euphoria, are prefigured by our responses to many early media technologies. For example, television in the 1950s, like the internet today, was imagined alternately as a source of social alienation and as a means of strengthening familial and social bonds. Now, of course, both those fears and those promises seem wildly unjustified. Perhaps our more sensationalizing conceptions of the internet will meet the same fate. Second, as other scholars remind us, and as Kevin mentioned in an earlier video, media technologies like the internet don't, by themselves, lead to any particular outcome. Any vision of media technology that ascribes to that technology an inevitable, intrinsic, or baked-in set of impacts on social and cultural life, whether utopian or apocalyptic, is fallacious. This fallacy is known as technological determinism, and many critics have brought that fallacy into relief by reminding us that media are ultimately technosocial systems, gaining their impact on society only insofar as they interact with and are shaped by social, ecological, and political forces. So attributing specific social developments to the inherent structure of digital media technologies like the internet without taking these broader forces into account is problematic. Finally, as media theorist Alexander R. Galloway has shown in his analysis of digital networks, digital media networks are not a single monolithic entity, but are multiple and complex. They mean different things in different contexts and according to different applications. For example, for most of you, digital networks structure and suffuse your entire social, intellectual, and professional lives. But for some people in poor communities, whether in advanced or developing countries, digital media networks just mean basic access to labour opportunities. So adhering too zealously to any single media imaginary may be futile. We can't, of course, stop imagining digital media, and nor would we want to. However, we do need to develop richer, messier, and more subtle digital media imaginaries. We need to be able to imagine the internet as complex, contradictory, and multiple, rather than as either good or bad, as part of a mesh of technical, social, and political forces, rather than as a lone agent that acts upon us independently of those other forces.